Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ice Cold Takes podcast. I'm your host, Joey DeMeglio, and the New York Rangers had quite the frustrating week. Fans, players, all of us were really feeling it. Rangers are officially in a slump, 5-game losing streak. It's not good. Not good at all. For a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals, the same core of players, 2 of the past 3 seasons, this is not good. Um, Last week, Chris Drury sent out what everyone is calling now, the memo. And I'll read it from Arthur Staples' article from The Athletic to catch everybody up in case you've been living under a rock. Uh, Ranger Central says, not sure how long I can watch, but W Hoodie. Yes, thanks, buddy. But anyways, the memo was on Monday. There was a report from Elliot Friedman that the Rangers general manager, Chris Drury, sent word to the NHL's other 31 general managers that the Rangers are open to a trade. And those sources said Captain Jacob Trouba and longest tenured Ranger Chris Kreider were mentioned specifically by name in the league-wide missive. Staple went on to say, putting those two prominent Rangers on the trading block 19 games into the season signifies that Drury believes the team's core needs a major adjustment. Even short of a trade, sending that information out to all the other NHL GMs guarantees that word will get out publicly, as it did in fairly short order. And then there was a response. There was a response from the team. Vince Mercogliano of USA Today Network, he just put out an article today recapping the Rangers' loss, a terrible loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. And there were two sources that he had that said that the memo Drury sent out was an overreaction. He said, and this is from Vince's article, you can check it on lohud.com. Drury's memo is a clear sign that he recognizes these problems, but the time to address them was over the summer. Trying to do it now has created a sticky, awkward situation while sending a message that isn't resonating. And here's the big part. In fact, it may be fracturing a locker room that's felt increasingly tense. Two league sources told lohud.com, part of the USA Today network, that at least some players resent the for sale sign that Drury hung over his roster this early in the season and don't appreciate how easily it got leaked. Well, that brings us to a very, very early Ice Cold Take segment of the show. This is probably the earliest Ice Cold Take segment in the history of Ice Cold Takes. Remember, folks, the Ice Cold Take is an accurate statement backed by facts and observations that is solid in nature, similar to a block of ice, i.e. a spot-on claim. And I hope everybody bundles up at home because this one's about to get chilly. We might touch absolute zero on this one. This week was the memo an overreaction? Hell to the no. They've been playing terribly for over a month now. That's not going to cut it for what you call a Stanley Cup contender, which they haven't been playing like since they started 5-0-1. It's been all downhill since then. These players are in the wrong business if their feelings are hurt over this. If they really want to win the Stanley Cup, then a whole lot more than feelings are going to get hurt. There's going to be pain. There's going to be heartbreak. It's going to be more of the losses that you've experienced in the Eastern Conference Finals the past 3 years. More of those losses that you experienced to the Devils in that 7-game series. It's going to be way more than your feelings, man. I could care less about that. This whole holding hands nonsense needs to stop, or else this team is never going to win. It's been 30 years. Fans have been dying for a Stanley Cup. I just want to see them win. I can understand the human element of all of this, uncertainty of where you're going to live and your livelihood. But I'm sorry, since when did it become the most important part, the most important factor in your quest to win the cup with the New York Rangers? You're more concerned about where you're going to be playing or what your family might do if you get traded despite making millions of dollars than actually playing better. And I think that's a major problem. Will Cooley lived with Vincent Trocheck last year, and he makes rookie money. No one said anything about that. Nobody. Now he's the best damn player on the Rangers right now. So I doubt he's concerned so much about his living arrangements. He'll figure that out in time if he keeps playing the way he's playing. Oh, yeah. The Rangers will surely extend a player like that. That's physical, always involved in every single game from start to finish. Hell yeah. Lock that guy up. That's a future captain right there. But when Jacob Trouba is making $8 million per year, and all we hear about is the fact that his wife needs to finish her residency, I'm sorry. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more confident that Trouba, of all people, is going to be able to figure that one out. So why isn't his concern on playing better and leading the Rangers to a Stanley Cup victory? Why? Why should I worry about what's going on in his personal life? I do not care about that. This is like the Anthony Rendon situation in baseball. You say you want to be here and you like it here, and then you come out and you play the lousiest period of hockey ever against the Flyers. That tells me you care more about being comfortable than actually winning. And that's a slap in the face to not just me and all the other Rangers content creators. That's a slap in the face to the entire fan base. I pay your salary. We, the fans, pay your salary. I don't watch because I like Zibanejad or Kreider or Trouba. I watch because I want to see the team win. So many years, players have come and gone. Some of my favorite players, Callahan, Zuccarello, Hagelin, Brassard, Lundqvist, you name them. I've seen them come and go without winning anything. So I'm done with wanting the Rangers to win because I want my favorite player to win. I just want to see my favorite team win. There's been plenty of fans way older than me that have been rooting for this team, double my life age, fans of the Rangers for that long, and they haven't seen anything. Maybe one cup. I'm tired of it. I just want to see my favorite team win. It would be great if the players on said team really did whatever it took to win on a nightly basis. Do I have to call Uncle Iroh from Avatar to give the leaders a motivational speech? Who are you? And what do you want? I'm sick and tired of this. We just need to be better. When are you going to take accountability as a leader? When is that going to happen? I have zero confidence in you whatsoever right now. I don't care if you've made 2 of the past 3 Eastern Conference Finals. I don't care about that. What are you doing for me right now, right at this very moment? You know what you're doing? You're losing 5 straight. 5 straight. And it's all your fault. All the leaders. It's not on the young guys. In fact, the young guys are the reason you have a fighting chance in any of those losses. They're the only guys that have been playing. So if you want to talk about a core, I think it's time you hand the keys over to the young guys like Lafreniere, like Cooley, Zach Jones, Braden Schneider. You give them the keys and let them handle everything. Let Lafreniere run the power play, because the last time the Rangers scored a power play goal was 2 weeks ago against Winnipeg. 2 weeks! And there's been no changes. Why should I get excited for this? It's the same damn thing. Fans have been calling this out for years, and people called them fake fans. They were right. I'm done. Rant over. Holy crap, man. Sick and tired of this. I try to be optimistic. I try. Optimistic D has run its course this year. We're not even a quarter of the way done. We're barely a quarter of the way done with the season. And it's not like these players could get moved. They can't. They have no movement clauses. How is Drury going to trade Zibanejad? How is he going to move that contract? Who is going to take that? Even if he does convince him. Do you really think there's going to be a team that wants a guy that's not doing anything, $8.5 million to just stand there? No. Same deal with Trouba. Does a team really think? I know 20 teams are reported as interested, but at $8 million salary? Are you kidding me? Who's going to take that? The Rangers are stuck with this. That's why I think the solution to this issue right now will all be solved if you just demote every single player that has a letter on their jersey. Demote them, except for Panarin. You play all the young guys. You give third line minutes to Trocheck, Riley Smith, Zibanejad, Kreider. You give them third and fourth line minutes, Dale Hunter style. You scratch Trouba if you have to. Call it Mancini. Play Ruedel. This is ridiculous. They care more about being comfortable than they do about winning the Stanley Cup. And that doesn't ring any bells. It doesn't raise any red flags to anybody. Are we kidding? Seriously? Man. It's a boys club now. Embarrassing. Nobody felt sorry for Elias Anderson when he wasn't allowed to live with Mika. The same organization who didn't let the guy they drafted seventh overall live with Mika, yet Trouba leaving is an issue. Ranger Central really sticking through here. This is the most angry I've heard you. We really have hit rock bottom, man. Heartbreak. It is. It is. I'm tired of it. And the nail in the coffin was this afternoon against the Flyers. I have never seen a more disinterested period of hockey from the Rangers. Since I've started watching, I've never seen that one-sided of a period. Oh my gosh. I need to pull up these stats here. You guys are going to lose your mind when you hear about this. The Rangers lost 3-1 to the Flyers. They are lucky it was only 3-1 because Shesterkin was making some big saves, which he hasn't really been doing a whole lot of. Shots at 5-on-5 in the first period. 15-4 in favor of the Flyers. Scoring chances at 5-on-5. 13-4 in favor of the Flyers. High danger chances at 5-on-5. 10 for the Flyers. 2 for the Rangers. Outchanced for the game. 30-15 at 5-on-5. High danger chances for the game. 16-6. And they give up way too many high danger chances. Off the rush chances. It is way worse than what it was last year. It is not even close. Guys aren't back checking. They're not skating. They're just standing there looking completely disinterested. And you can't tell me that they suck. I'm telling you, a team that's made it to the conference finals 2 of the past 3 years, they don't do it on accident. And a President's Trophy. Set the record, the franchise record for points in a season. It's not because they suck. That means everyone else in the league sucks. They just didn't try. And I think they truly did that to spite Chris Drury. And you cannot convince me otherwise. That was the lousiest period I've ever seen my favorite team play. That was an embarrassment. Even the positive Peter, Joe Micheletti, called him out from the minute the puck dropped. It wasn't the same old, the Rangers need to shoot the puck. The Rangers need to shoot the puck. He mixed that in, but he said the defense was atrocious. He said the defense was terrible. Everybody is noticing this now. You know why? Because the players have no interest in playing. You know, their feelings are hurt. I could care less about your feelings. I pay your salary, damn it. We pay your salary. We pay up the ass to get good tickets at the Garden. So start playing. Start playing for your fans. We're going to start booing you. You're not above us. What, you think it's granted that you're just going to come back, just flip a switch, Trouba's going to throw his helmet, and then that's going to wake everybody up? Connor Mackey's going to come up and throw some bombs in a fight, and that's going to wake everybody up? There is no helmet throw moment because all of the leaders are disinterested. They don't care. They care more about the paycheck than they do about winning a hockey game. And you could see it from the minute that puck dropped against the Flyers. You could see it. The only thing holding them back was the fact that they had to show up for the game to collect their money. They were just standing there, watching. Those first 2 goals, within the first 5 minutes of the game, the Rangers are already down 2-0 because the defense doesn't want to play defense. 10 high danger chances against in the first, just complete wolf shit. Exactly. Yeah. I can't even mask it with my optimism. It's become that bad. I am the most optimistic Ranger fan here. I swear. I always look at the positives. Even when the Rangers were starting that West Coast road trip, when they started with the wins, but when you look back at them, they weren't that really good of it. They weren't really good efforts. They weren't the best we've seen from them. They were steps in the right direction, and I acknowledge that. I called out. I said Zibanejad made a great play. I'm one of those guys. That doesn't go unnoticed. I didn't see, aside from Trocheck's goal, I didn't see any effort from Rangers veterans today, except for Shesterkin. It was all Berard, Cooley, Zach Jones laying the body, Schneider making a couple great defensive plays. The others, nah. I couldn't find them on a topographical map of Texas. Nothing. What are you doing for me? Sick and tired of this. And then, that I completely forgot about this. Great point by Evan from Ranger Central. The Panarin scrum summed it all up. The guy is going to war with 4 guys against him and nobody jumps in. Panarin has been great all season. He's the one veteran I'm not going to complain about. Even what he said after the game against the Blues, he was the only guy that was made available for comment. And that, in and of itself, the only guy with a letter on his jersey playing in that game to make himself available to the media. That is the biggest slap in the face. Terrible. Terrible. The fans deserve to know. The reporters need to report their stories. They need to write their stories. What, are you afraid that your name is going to get dragged through the mud? You're more concerned about your feelings than you are about actually winning the game. That just completely summarizes my point, completely brings it up there. Mika and Trouba are so checked out. Anytime there's a scrum, they just skate around it. Yeah, Zibanejad against Carolina. Cooley's getting involved. Berard's getting involved. Someone gets put in a headlock. And what does Mika do? He just watches. He just skates away. Panarin gets into it with, who was it, Konechny? Someone on the Flyers. And then the 4 Rangers turn their back away, go towards the bench, skate so far away from it. Do we not forget how this whole mess started? With Tom Wilson dragging him down to the ice, no one doing anything about it? Man. I was going to say, at least he can stand in front of his locker and talk to the media after brutal games, and we'll go to war for this team. The rest of this group runs away and doesn't care. Yeah. I mean, and it's sad that we have to admit that. It is sad. And the only one with balls to say anything is Kreider, too. And he's not even playing. But even when he speaks, he's revealing an injury, which never happens. So that means he's trying to stay. He doesn't want to leave. Again, my point is proven. The Rangers, right now, the leaders, care more about their paycheck and comfortability living than winning a Stanley Cup. Your whole mindset, if you want to win, and this may be harsh for some of the fans that love their players, your mindset should be eat, sleep, and breathe Stanley Cup. You wake up, you train, you get on the ice, you train, you take the skates off, you go to the gym, you eat, recover, and then you're back to it the next day. There is no off days. You change everything about yourself and dedicate everything you want, everything you possibly can to that one thing. Anything else, I don't want you here, man. That says a lot more about your character. I don't want people that don't want to win here. I'm tired of people just saying, oh, yeah, I want to win. I want to win. The Rangers right now, I got this. When I used to, professional sports, man, when I used to compete, there are competitors and there are people that just compete. What do you want to be? I want to be the competitor. The Rangers right now, they're just competing. They're just there to compete. They don't care about anything. Other teams are passing them in the standings. Carolina, there was a lot of talk about there's no way they're going to be able to run it back. They'll be damned. They're running it back. They're in first place. They're kicking ass. Same old, same old. Just as long as Brind'Amour is there, brings those guys into battle all the time. Laviolette's trying his damn hardest. And you're running to the general manager complaining about your ice time? Horseshit, man. Terrible. Terrible third period against the Blues. once again, the only good efforts in that game came from the young guns. Kako, Cooley, Berard, who's flying, absolutely flying since he's been called up. This kid needs to stay. He needs to stay. I'm seeing more effort from guys like Brodzinski, Sam Carrick, guys that have nothing to play for, playing with house money. And the so-called veterans that want to win the Stanley Cup. You know, the letter years ago, we have the memo, and now that we had the letter, and now we have the memo. The letter was all about bringing in young talent, building the team from the ground up. The leftovers from that team that was rocketed into the stratosphere were Kreider and Zibanejad. And they played well enough to become the core. Well, I never looked at them once as, in truth, I never looked at those guys once as, they're going to be the centerpiece of a Stanley Cup. I always looked at it as Lafreniere and Kakko are going to be the centerpieces. Hedl, all the guys they acquired via trade, draft. That's the core. And I stand by that. It's time to move the keys. Give the keys, hand the title over to Lafreniere, name him the captain, name Cooley an alternate. It's time. Those guys, they just don't want, they're checked out. They don't want to do it. They don't want to get involved physically. They don't want to shoot the puck. They don't want to do any of the stuff that wins you hockey games. They're just passengers, and they're there to collect the paycheck. And I am disappointed in Vincent Trocheck because I thought he had captain-like material, and I thought he would be a really good piece of the core. But so far this season, he's been a major, major disappointment. I'll always root for the Rangers. No doubt about it. In the back of my mind, I'll always be pulling for Zibanejad to knock out of his slump. Trouba to get back to the player he was with Winnipeg that last year. There's always going to be that hope. But I'm no fool. I'm going to call out poor play when I see it. And right now, the guys that I've come to know and love over the past few years that I thought brought more to the table than they are doing right now just aren't doing that. And I have to call them out. There's no other choice. Evan says, I'm tired of the word salads from these guys like Trouba who say just not good enough and this and that. Actions speak louder than words. Yes. That is an indictment. I said it yesterday. I ranted about this. Or the other day on Wednesday. Chris Drury going out and saying, I've made core players available, and specifically naming Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, specifically naming them, is an indictment on your play. He already tried moving you in the offseason. He cut Goudreau's ass. What's to say he won't do the same thing to Trouba? And your response, your best response is, oh, it's part of the business. I like it here. I want to be here. Just something you have to deal with. That's all you got? Not once do you think about, yeah, man, he's right. I suck. Not once. All you have to say is, he's right. I suck. I need to step it up. I want to be here, so I need to play better. Not we as a team need to play better. It's you. In the past, I've said finger pointing is not the answer, but the young guys on the team are playing like they have nothing to lose. For once, they are not the issue. They are more than pulling their own weight. More than that. Meanwhile, we see reports that they might fire him, Laviolette, for Sullivan if he becomes available. What a joke if this core and GM gets another coach. If Mike Sullivan becomes available and you could move on from this core, I don't see why you don't go for Mike Sullivan. Because I remember when Sullivan was first hired in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh had about a similar issue as the Rangers. You know, the Penguins' core of Crosby and Malkin was severely underperforming. Fleury, severely. First round exit to the Rangers. 3-1 blown series lead to the Rangers. 2013, they got swept in the conference finals. They got beat by the Flyers in round 1 in 2012. I remember that shit. They brought Sullivan in, and he got that room sorted out. None of those coaches, what was it, Mike Johnson? I forget the guy's name. Dan Bylsma. They didn't have it. That team was in shambles. Sullivan came in and brought them all together. They don't deserve. I agree. The team does not. Zibanejad, Kreider, Trocheck, or Trouba. They don't deserve another coach. But I'm done looking at them as the core. It's not them. They aren't them. Another effort against Carolina was a step in the right direction. I will admit that. But for a so-called Stanley Cup contender, it's just not good enough, man. You have a 3-2 lead in the third period, and you blow it. Again, it's a great effort from the younger guys. Not nearly good enough for Shesterkin. Couple soft goals. The breakouts are terrible for the Rangers. Terrible. How do you expect to play good hockey if you can't do the basics? If you're always, you're moving halfway, like a half a foot up the ice, and then as you're doing that, you have to turn around because you missed a pass, or because you fumbled the puck, or because you turned it over, or gave it away. It's not a recipe for success. It's been an issue for a long, long time. People much smarter than me that know more about the game of hockey than I do have been calling that out for a while. And the fact that it hasn't been cleaned up is an issue. How you win like that is beyond me. All these other good teams, they do the basics well. If you can't do how are you going to be good at the hard stuff if you can't do the easy stuff? Doesn't make any sense. And then again, the Flyers game, the worst start ever. The most disinterested period of hockey I've ever seen the Rangers play. I can't pin this on Laviolette. I can't do it. I mean, they had David Quinn, who didn't use the young guys. They had Gerard Gallant, who would, for whatever reason, put Barclay Goodrow and Dryden Hunt over Lafreniere and Capo Caco and never used them. And now Laviolette is in here, and he's actively. People said that Laviolette would not use the young guys. He would ruin the young guys. Any hope of growing a young roster is out the window because Laviolette's going to rely on the veterans. Bullshit. He's using Cooley. I saw him. The Rangers pulled the goalie. Who did he have out there as extra skaters? Lafreniere with Kreider hurt, and Will Cooley, who's been the best damn skater on the Rangers right now with Hedl out. So I'm tired of hearing the false narrative that Laviolette is a bad coach for young guys. Kakko has found a role as a third-line player, and he's a damn good one at that. He's playing center. They're using him everywhere. He's more than pulling his weight. Fine season for him. And now we're hearing trade rumors for Capo Caco. That doesn't make any sense to me. He's one of your best players. That's a guy you build with. It makes more sense to me to trade Kreider than it does to trade Kakko. And I don't even want to trade Kreider because he's the only guy in this core that shows up in the playoffs. And it's good value, $6.5 million for a guy that's going to get you 30, 40 goals a year. I don't know how. Every year, he just seems to magically find a way to get to 40 goals now. Before it was, 25 goals. He would just magically stumble upon that. Never cross 30. Now, as he's getting past the age of 30, he's hitting 30 goals more regularly. It doesn't make any sense. But whatever it is, he's good. And he's got good 5-on-5 numbers. Yeah, the guy's invisible, but he produces. I can't say the same thing about Zibanejad and Trouba or Lindgren. Panarin's pulling his weight in the regular season. He gets us to the playoffs. But guys like Trouba, Lindgren, it's the defense that's the issue. If you can't see that, I don't know what to say. The breakouts have been awful. And then the other thing that I just cannot understand from Laviolette, as much as I defended him before, why go back to Miller Trouba as a pair? I've talked ad nauseum about this on the show. How bad of a pair they are. Their metrics are awful. They make the worst mistakes. If you're watching a game and you're doing something else in the background, and you turn your head to watch the Rangers for a split second and something goes wrong, there is a greater than 75% chance that when that bad thing happens, it's when Trouba and Miller are on the ice. That's how bad they are. There's also another rumor going around that JT Miller was in conversation for the Rangers. What a stupid move that would be. I guess that would be a lateral move? Who are you going to trade for that? Is that the replacement for Zibanejad? I don't know. I'm checked out on that idea. Totally checked out. Man, you could nuke this entire core and send it for Brady Tkachuk, and I would care less about what the Rangers give up. They could give up their entire farm system, plus Zibanejad, Kreider, and Trouba, if it meant Brady Tkachuk was coming the other way. That's an identity shift right there. That's what I want to see. This is just like noise for the Rangers right now. If Drury doesn't make a move, if he doesn't actually trade someone, the easiest person he could trade is Lindgren. He's got no trade protection, and he's a young defenseman. And I've talked before on this show that NHL GMs think barbarically. They don't use analytics, a lot of them. A lot of them don't have computer minds. They think, just like with Mike Greer did with Barclay Goodrow, intangibles. Guys, it's going to be meat and potatoes, block shots, take the body, give you your best effort every single night. And the Rangers could get value back for that. And it's not like they don't have a replacement. He's waiting in the minors. He's not even supposed to be at this stage of his career. He's not even supposed to be in the NHL. But he blew us all away in preseason. His name is Victor Mancini. That's the guy first guy I'm looking at is who could get shipped out. And I understand, it shouldn't be Drury to do that because he hasn't had a good track record as general manager. I understand that, but what are you going to do? What do you think, James Dolan is going to fire Drury right now? Who's he going to replace him with? You're going to put Glenn Sather back in there? You're going to promote the assistant general manager there? Is Mark Stahl or Tanner Glass going to get promoted to GM? You're going to have the same issue. So unless there's a smart GM out there that's available to replace Drury with, I don't understand not moving on from one of your players. You make all this noise, they become disinterested. They think it's a slap in the face to them. Meanwhile, it's a slap in the face to all of us as fans because, like I said, we pay the damn salaries. If it weren't for us, you guys wouldn't be playing the game of hockey for a living. The sport you love so much. Taking it for granted. I'll always be a Rangers fan. That's for sure. This was a very negative episode. Very, very negative. Probably the most negative I've ever been. But I can't hold back anymore. I got to call it out. There's nothing else I could do. I can't sit here and tell you the Rangers are playing well anymore. I can't sit here and say, oh, they're over 500. They'll be fine. I can't sit here and say, look at the last 2 years when they've been struggling. And then what happened? Trouba threw his helmet. Mackey got into a fight. And the Rangers turned it out. And we all lived happily ever after. I can't do that. I can't. There is none of that. None of that is going to happen. If that is going to happen, it's going to come from a guy like Lafreniere or Cooley. They're going to step up. And then my point about the new core being the young guys is going to be solidified. You give the captaincy to that player right then and there. I know last time a captain was stripped in season, Joe Thornton didn't work out so well for the Sharks. But if it gets to that point where, you know, you can't overlook Lafreniere anymore, I think Laviolette should be able to make that decision. I think he should be able to, you know what, Jacob? I'm sitting you. And you know what? Ripping that C off your chest. I wouldn't be afraid to do that. Pierre Maguire floated that idea out. Rough, man. Rough times for Rangers fans. We had it so good. So good. I want to see a Stanley Cup. Tired of losing. None of my teams win. Tired of it. Tired. I'm tired of seeing players that are completely checked out. That only say, "Oh yeah, I'm here to win. I like it here." No, you don't. If you actually cared, then you'd start playing better and you'd start taking accountability for yourself. You would say, "I need to play better. I suck." Not, "We need to be better." Because the other guys on the team are pulling their weight. If you've looked at the face off, the Inside the NHL series, the first episode, the Pasternak versus William Nylander, you see the difference between Nylander and Pasternak. Pasternak, both great players, don't get me wrong. But when they face adversity, the better player came out on top. Jim Montgomery called out Pasternak's ass, said, "You suck. You need to play better. I need more from you." And what did Pasternak say? "Yeah, you're right. I agree. I do suck, and I do need to give you more. That wasn't my best. I'll give you more." And what does he do? He goes out, gets the Game 7 overtime winner, sending the Bruins to the second round. Some players have it, others don't. And the Rangers right now, their leaders do not have that. Bunch of William Nylanders, bunch of Anthony Rendones, guys that are here to collect a paycheck than, have it in their character that they want to win. We've all been fooled, duped, bamboozled. Terrible. Terrible. I'm checked out. I'm done. This was basically a 38-minute rant about how I feel about the New York Rangers. So I hope everybody enjoyed. Hopefully I get a guest next week. Statboy Steven, please. So I could go back and forth with somebody about this, someone that, feels similar to how I feel, along the same page. Yeah, that would be nice. But anyways, if you enjoyed the episode and you're watching on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow Ice Cold Takes. Ice Cold Takes Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. What is it? X now? Yeah, X. I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. Got some good deals on Black Friday. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.